Welcome to everybody who's watching in the library too. If you're coming in from the future, we're very pleased to have you here as well to our book launch, The Mind Movement, Integrating Body, Breath and Movement in Therapy. Very pleased to be introducing Lorna Evans. Lorna is a UKCP registered psychotherapist and trainer with an MSc in body awareness and psychotherapy. She integrates movement and breath into trauma-informed practice, drawing from experiences in private practice, the NHS, and mind. Lorna teaches across the UK in recovery and survival communities and works as a media spokesman for the UKCP. She has collaborated with organisations such as The Guardian, The Samaritans, and the BBC, and shares psychoeducational content on her YouTube channel, The Mind Movement. So Lorna, welcome to Online Events. It's really lovely to have you here talking about the book and
Thanks,
as it
John.
launches
Great.
into the world. My favorite question to ask colleagues who are authors and who are birthing books into the world is, I mean, it's such a big project getting a book together
Yeah.
and bringing it to life. And it just takes so much energy that
Yeah.
there kind of needs to be a very, very compelling reason, I guess, for you to
Yeah.
marshal all of that time and resources. So, can I ask you what that is for you, Lorna? What's compelled you to write? And yeah,
That's a great question. Thank you, John. For me, writing this book, it's a part of me. So when I pick it up, I'm really happy now that I look at it and I like it and it's good. It would be
mm,
very, I'm sure I can't imagine it being a different way, but this is my purpose. So my own experience with mind, body, connection, healing, being well. And then from in my training, because I was a yoga teacher before, as well as other things, working in video games and things that we all have lives and have to earn money. But
yes,
part of my healing was part of doing yoga. Then I trained as a psychotherapist. It's the same path. But obviously, when I trained as a psychotherapist, the body disappears. It did disappear. It's coming back now in training, and
yeah,
especially, yeah, only just. It's coming back now,
yes,
and it was my own research in my master's that was bringing in my deeper interest of where the body was, and this was before The Body Keeps the Score came out, you know.
yeah,
Um, and then in my work, it is in all of my work. It always has been in all of my work, with the body, and then especially my work working in a trauma informed way, teaching yoga. And I actually trained with Bessel van der Kolk's yoga teacher about this trauma informed yoga. And there's just something missing in our dialogue as therapists around how we speak about the body and bring something physical in, because there are bodies in the room, there are bodies here now with us. And it's, and doctors will say, when people go to the GPs, they say, I've got anxiety, depression, and a bad back. Everybody says that. So there wasn't that space to be able to talk about the body, yet everybody's really interested in it, but there's nothing physical. So for me, this was a space where I could break it down very simply, talking about the body, something physical, the breath and movement. But ultimately, it's about giving people tools to be well and regulate.
mm, yeah, yeah.
Mm.
Thank you, Lorna. And maybe as you've got a group with us here live, I wonder if anybody resonates with that experience in terms of the body disappearing. That's a really potent way to say that, like from the training experience as a
Mm.
therapeutic practitioner. Wonder if anybody else has noticed that too. And like, I wonder what that was like for you as were coming into the field. You were a yoga teacher, I guess. You were having your own healing journey around the body too, and then suddenly you kind of meet this taboo around the body, and
Well, I
yeah,
remember it vividly because I remember going to the training literally, um, before I signed on the dotted line, and I said to the lady, is the body, will it be relevant? Yes, yes, yes. I think I was getting the clothes on the sale to sign on the line. And it
okay,
and it wasn't. It wasn't. So I was able to bring that in myself. And of course, the tide has changed more now with the
yeah,
work of Bessel van der Kolk. I mean, that book is in yoga studios, libraries. it's general talk, especially for younger people in their 20s now. It's
Yeah.
fantastic.
It's such a shift over the last 20, 30 years, isn't it? That what was how training was then, I guess.
It's really, I would say,
Yeah,
John, that
yeah,
it's happening live now. That change. People are only
yes,
now talking about intersectionality.
yes,
Because I train
yeah,
people to be therapists who are coming in new, not just people who are already
mm,
therapists. And only now, and it is a tick box that people are having to include intersectionality. Um, and the people are coming in, the students now at the induction days, they want to know about the somatic practice. They want to know about fantastic,
yeah, yeah.
fantastic. But the old guard have a little slight worry about that because
Right,
it's
okay.
the new thing. So I made what was important to me was that I brought some science to this rather than anything woo woo, anything that wasn't clinical.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
That's so important. And maybe before we get to that,
yeah,
could I ask you a little bit about your own journey, like how important the body was for you?
yeah,
Because I guess that has really informed what what you wanted to bring as a therapist yourself, and then of course the book. And
yeah,
would it be okay
yeah.
to say even a little bit about that, or
Oh
is
yeah,
that
absolutely.
great?
So
Yeah.
I was always very busy, and I got quite ill and with burnout with work. I was working in London, working in television, traveling around, all of this, and it really made me ill. At one point, I couldn't even walk, and I nearly had to be flown back from America at one point. And it was a physio I saw in Richmond in London, and he said you need to start doing yoga, and I thought what? So along with that, many other health things happened that I looked at, and I really changed my life, and changed, and really with a focus on my health, and I still am today,
Mm.
focused on that. Um, and but with the body, yes, there is the yoga, but why does the yoga work? From quite a naive place, I think now I was asking this.
Mm.
Um, but it still helps me now like a medicine. So it was just to be able to understand why. And yoga isn't for everybody. And some people literally come into my room and say, "Oh, Lorna, I absolutely hate yoga." And we sort of have a laugh about it. But there'll be something else. And for everybody, it's different.
There'll be
You
some
know,
kind of movement that someone can be doing. Yes.
sometimes, and
Yeah.
it's you honestly, it usually connects to something in childhood that they like, and I'm always listening for it, that they like to dance, that they like to move, or their mother
Mm.
wouldn't let them go dancing, or that they like music, or they like to walk, or what, there's something that
Yeah.
is bigger and more connected there. But really for myself, I'm this area, bringing the science to it is useful because I'm then able
Yeah.
to work with clinicians with it
Yes.
when we talk about the impact of cortisol on the body.
Yes. Well, and we might have some people from the public and also as practitioners as we're settling
Uh-huh.
in to this way of thinking. Could you make that link between like what you're experiencing somatically, I guess we use that term now, don't we?
Yes.
Like that like the the ill health that was in your body and movement. Because the kind of when we're in that more medical model, it's like, right, what's the medication that's going to fix whatever
Yeah.
was going on with you? But there was something about the yoga and the movement. Um, yeah, could you kind of make
Yeah.
that connection for us?
Bring the science bit in.
Well, that would be a great movement into
Yeah.
the science. Yes, please.
Yeah.
Yes.
So when we are stressed, we re- and when there is a lot of cortisol, and also we need to remember that and talk about the cortisol isn't a chemical, it's a hormone, right? So therefore there's a whole other dialogue there, not just for women, but with hormones. So when we are stressed, we have high levels of cortisol, right? So when that cortisol comes in, so imagine we've got smooth bodies and we're all moving and everything's great and there's no pain, there's no restriction, right? It's great. When we have pain and restriction, this is accompanied with the anxiety, the depression. And remember, this is because of something going on out here.
Mhm.
When we are moving, we begin to, no, sorry, let me backtrack that, John, so it's clear.
Yeah,
When the
thank you.
cortisol is high, what happens physically is this moving I put this image on the front of the book, actually. I work with this artist. It's like a Spider Woman suit under our skin, right? So there's
Mm.
the bad neck. There's the inflammation in the bowel. There's the bad leg. There's the hip. My issue was the psoas muscle, actually, right? Which is, we now have research that how connected that is to mental health, especially depression.
Mm.
Yeah. This tight
And where's the
hips.
psoas muscle? Just
The psoas muscle goes down the front of your hip. So often
front of your
people
hip,
will
right?
say, oh, you hold a lot of stress and tension in your shoulders. You hold more stress and trauma in your hips. So we have to
Fascinating.
be very
Yes.
careful with hip releasing.
Yes.
So let me come back to making this science bit really simple. Cortisol goes up. What happens? When the cortisol goes up, this fascia suit that we are moving with, rather than it being slippy and sliding, it turns into glue. And there's the tree trunks of restriction, really, that happen in the fibers. So something
Mm.
does happen and change in the body. There's also sugar also has an impact on that. But oh, wow. And then I started here in my research the work of William Reich, who sort of fell out with Freud. Everyone falls out, right? But actually, his work, he talked about this in the body as character armor, as a restriction of to protect ourselves from emotion, the unbearable, the pain. So it
Mm.
builds up physically in the body. Something happens there. And then if we begin to have awareness, and especially working with a practitioner who understands this, when we want to be well, when we move, when we stretch, when we even notice this restriction, this is how we begin to be well. We've got to get people steady first to notice, to begin to move, to stretch, whatever the thing might be, to work on the fascia, to
Yes.
release the fascia. Yeah.
So then, like that movement, whether it's yoga or walking or
Yeah.
stretching, it's kind of releasing that glue and going back into the stretchy.
Yep, absolutely. You begin to release the fascia, work with the fascia. It's also important that people drink a lot of water, have good nutrition. It sounds very simple, doesn't it? A
Yes.
crisis, that is not a crisis intervention, by the way. Have a stretch and have a drink of water. No way,
Yes.
right?
Right. Of
So, but
course.
this is
Of course.
about people being well. So people feel the change. So weekly, people come in and they say, oh, where they've done their own practices. This may be with me, may not be with me. People have to stay safe, that they can feel something changing in their body, something leaving their body, something's changing.
Mhm.
It is not a quick fix. The internet might tell you it's a quick fix with all these people shaking and doing trauma videos. I'm the opposite of that. It takes time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's taken a long time for the body to then kind of arrive at that place, I guess, where everything's kind of constricted or gluey, or
Yeah.
so it
And
makes sense that it would take time to.
yeah, otherwise there's too much unraveling. And that trauma does need somewhere to go. So
Yeah.
this is where in therapy, it needs somewhere to go. We have to be able to speak about it or take it somewhere or put it in the clay or the art or somewhere for it to be processed.
And I mean, this is maybe sounds like an obvious question. If we, like as you were saying with that muscle, if we release all that stuff too quickly,
Yeah.
what can happen to people, Lorna? What's the downside of that speed?
But the downside of that speed and people not working in a trauma informed way. So I'm thrilled that people are here today and that people are really interested in the book and buying the
Yes.
book. It's really dangerous, John. So for me, years ago, I would go on these yoga retreats and women were being flown home. Women were having a psychotic break, with
Right.
all these rebirthing exercises and
Yeah.
the body. Wow. So we've got to be really careful. When we work with the body, things happen really quickly, very, very
Uh-huh.
quickly. And if you think of the body as the unconscious, as I do, as I
Mhm.
frame in my work, your whole
Yeah.
body's your unconscious. Oh, so there's a lot of structure in place there that's keeping you safe. So we
Yeah.
can't be taking all of that away. Very
So got
dangerous.
that's part of the wisdom of the body, that it's not releasing things into our conscious awareness, that it's
Yeah,
holding things, and we want to go very carefully with all of that.
very
Yeah,
carefully, because actually that's been keeping you safe. It mightn't be healthy, but it's been keeping you safe.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, I'm so appreciate how you're framing that for us, Lorna, because I think also there can be, I mean, this is also changing, but a tendency in therapy to say, right, let's loosen everything psychologically quickly as well. But we
yeah,
just have to go easy and go slowly with that. And yeah.
yeah. Absolutely. And bodies are different. And if you bring in even the intersectionality around, well, intersectionality, but I write about people who are neurodivergent. I'll just give this example. Neurodivergent bodies are different.
Mm,
Neurodivergent senses, touch, gut experiences, emotions, feelings are felt or not felt. you
mm,
know the overwhelm, the meltdown, it's a reaction to this stuff. So it's being curious as a therapist about how it is for your client.
mm,
Some
yeah.
autistic clients that I work with they can't feel anything, and so
Mhm,
that's off the cards. This isn't for everyone. It's really how you pace it with your client. Some people just show up and are like, I want to do the work, let's do the work, show me this physical thing, great. But that it isn't for everybody. And often,
mm,
John, we do need a GP to be involved, just which we always sort of did, but I really hold it even more so now, where somebody, okay, so we need to check that out. We need to get your bloods done. Is this, say, something's energy, sleep? Do you need to get your thyroid checked? Let's go and look into it. The clients have a hunch, especially with inflammation. This is more my work with women, I have to
mm,
say, that
mm,
we're looking at inflammation, chronic fatigue, the invisible illnesses, perimenopause, menopause, hormones. Remember, cortisol is like Pac-Man and comes in as a hormone and destroys the good stuff. That we're having these conversations with our clients, but we've got to get things checked out.
mm.
Sometimes we get them checked out, and what I frequently hear, and I'm sure many people on this call, it'd be good to hear from you. Um, there's just a wall. There's nothing. It's not holistic. It's not connected. Um, However, there's a space for this connecting the mind, the body, the spirit, the soul, what the client knows in their bones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So listening for the client's hunches, like, because it might be, I know I've heard myself say this, but clients as well, like this oh, I was wondering, but I don't think it is, or no, I'm sure it's not. No. But there's that some kind of language around a clue there that could go to the GP as well, could be taken to the GP. Yeah.
Absolutely. But often there is something's being missed. The client will know
Yeah.
something is being missed. The women know something's being missed. And
Yes.
there's a reality of this today,
Yeah.
where especially with, I'm thinking around endometriosis, physical. And this is in
Yes.
in younger women as well.
And a lot of this has been missed by medical practitioners
It
as
still
well.
is.
So yeah.
It still is the inflammation, the chronic fatigue, the pain. And I wonder if anyone on the call has hears this in their work. And this is where we have to stop talking about the fascia, what's going on, and we can't just talk cognitively in the room.
Yeah.
How are you feeling? What is this? Yeah. And also, we don't want to replay the meme that's quite funny where the therapist says, tell me where you feel it in your body. Have I ever said it? Yes. But it's that this is the bit that terrifies people, because people who work with the body, say yoga teachers or therapists, there's a hands-on, they're not scared of the body, but as therapists, we've been told no touch, no nothing. But this is just to have that dialogue.
Mm.
Maybe someone's not sleeping because their hormones aren't right, then they need to see the doctors, have that looked at. Yeah,
It makes so much sense. Yeah,
yeah.
so much sense. And that word fascia, I mean, it's definitely a new word for me.
Good.
And could you say a little bit more about what that's describing? I think you've said something already, but
Yes.
yeah,
So
yeah.
the fascia is really important, and fascia is the new vagus nerve. So you heard it here first,
I heard
right?
it here first, Lorna. I will
And
not
I,
forget that.
right.
Yes, yes.
If you Google it, unfortunately, some guttering from around the house comes up, right? So that's
Is it the
also
same
called,
special
it's the same
spelling?
spelling, yeah.
Well, I know about that, but maybe that's a very bloke thing to
Right.
say, Lorna.
Don't know.
Sorry.
So no, it just happens. It's quite funny.
Yeah.
I see like fascia vans going past me, and I think, wow. But the fascia was coined by a lady called Ida Rolf. There is a movie coming out about her, and it's launching actually at the Chinese Theatre in LA next week. So this is the start of this wave. Ida Rolf studied and worked in the 50s and 60s in California in the Esalen Institute with Erskine, with Fritz Perls, Laura Perls, the Gestalt people. Yeah. Ida Rolf, because she was more physical, her work went more towards the physiotherapists. So often physios, so if you ever meet a physio somewhere randomly, they know about the fascia. But what I'm doing is bringing it together with mental health, the pain, the discomfort, the trauma, why it's there. And if you think about a lifetime of high cortisol, not being safe, being dysregulated, and we know why, there's a physical impact on that. And the fascia becomes tightened. And like I say, think about your client who they're hot. You know, when they're having a panic attack, the people who go to A&E time and time again, we would have all worked with the people who've gone to A&E. And the doctors are saying to people today, every day, you need to go for a run. It's stress. Go to your doctors. It's not a heart attack. That's the fascia clamping down on the organs. It clamps, it thickens, but on the organs, it clamps down. Think about the gut, colitis, Crohn's. This is what's coming to me here. The inflammation. Yeah. The shoulder, the bad back, what's going on. Yeah. And I see this. I'm so blessed that I get to work with people in recovery every week. And I'm working with this real time. And these people would never be in a yoga class ever. And they show up and it makes them feel better. They have a better, real hard to reach people. And I teach them about this. And it's like, oh, this, and we bring it in. Yeah, and we bring it in and we'll work with it.
So it's like that kind of fibers that just under the skin. Is that, am I getting
It's
that
like
right?
an orange, right? Imagine an orange. The
Yes,
peel
yes,
of an orange is the skin,
yes,
right? Or you know that white stuff underneath, like a membrane,
yes,
and the
yes,
bit between the orange segments,
yes.
that's like the fascia within us,
Oh, I
right?
see.
So the
Yes,
fascia, right? It
yes.
is like it's like a Wi-Fi signal. So if you stub your toe,
Mm-hmm.
right,
Mm-hmm.
that you feel the pain. So
Yes.
it all connects, right? It all connects. And when there is for example, a tightening of the neck or the shoulder from stress, that's an obvious example, right? It screws with the Wi-Fi in the body. So therefore, I don't know if I'm safe. I'm
Yeah.
not able to regulate properly. I may react and go into fight, flight, freeze, foam, whatever the response is. It screws with that healthy Wi-Fi where I actually know where I am in the world, where my feet are on the floor, that I am in the here and now.
Mm.
And there's words that are particularly coming up with our clients who are being diagnosed with autism and ADHD: interoception,
Yes.
proprioception. I don't know if, like, I have clients, 21-year-olds coming in saying, right, I need to know about proprioception. What? I'm thinking, I've just spent 6 months researching this in a book and no one's ever asked me, right? It's fantastic. More with autism because of the issues with proprioception. So here are I'll make it super simple.
Yes, please.
Interoception, interoception. If you just turn I'm going to invite you, I'll look away, just turn your neck to one side. Feel that lengthening of the neck.
Yes, yes.
Try it on the other way right now. I want you to notice that tightness.
Mm-hmm.
That's interoception. where we notice our body. Okay. Proprioception is, and when that breaks, the interoception, we don't know where our edges are. So this comes up a lot in addiction, where I end and you begin. Poor boundaries, where there are bad physical boundaries. What you will find, and I'm sure in your work you hear this, the hypermobility, big links with hypermobility, neurodiversity, and addiction. Where do I end? Where do you begin? It never ends. Yeah. And with trauma, we think it'll never end. So it's, again, how we then make that physical, helping people become aware of that and improving their interoception.
Yeah.
Bringing awareness to that. Proprioception is where really we would just disassociate. So right now, wiggle your toes. Everybody, I invite you, just wiggle your toes. Have a little left.
Toes are wiggling. Yes.
Toes are wiggling, sitting on the chair, lengthening the spine. Yeah.
Mm.
It's knowing where you are between heaven and earth right now, where we are back in the here and now. And if you think when clients are dysregulated, that's just intolerable. Really, it's far easier to self-medicate with drugs, alcohol, sex, work, food, all the stuff, to not be here now, to not know where we are in space and time, or panic.
Well, and one of the things about neurodivergence that maybe is not so well known outside that community is, like, often there's a hypersensitivity. It's not less sensitivity. So no wonder it then shows up with addiction because it's just overwhelming to live in the world. Yeah.
There it is. Thank you for saying that. Yeah. Because it's overwhelming, whether that's sound, sense, light, smells, and all of it, and without them even knowing that.
Yeah.
Or that even being put on a child, and being labeled having a meltdown. Well, it's a reaction to that based on that level of sensitivity.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for mentioning that. Very important.
So I think that's it. Well, I mean, it sounds like it's right at the core of your work around recovery and addiction. And I think it's so, people think the opposite around sensitivity, I think.
Say some more. What do you mean?
Well, I think there's all these ideas that if you're autistic, you don't have any empathy, you don't know how to interact with people, you don't even know that other people are there. And it's actually the opposite, isn't it? Like,
it is the opposite.
The drama of life is just completely overwhelming. Yeah.
Yeah, completely overwhelming. And again, this is where neurodivergent bodies are different. And at least that we have awareness of that, and with our clients, to let them explore that and validate them.
Yes.
That they're not, that, remember, the society, a divergent. No, I get them mixed up because I don't know what neurotypical is. That's it. I don't know what neurotypical is, right? But the neurotypical world invalidates us and has invalidated our clients since they were children. Yeah. Just go to the party. Just go and play with the kids. No, I don't want to do that. You know, so the world invalidates. So to be in a space and just figure that out for clients, this ultimately comes back to regulation. So the client has choice and control over regulation. And that our bodies are part of that.
Yeah.
To come, and then you bring in the nervous system. The nervous, how we regulate, how the breath can help. Again, so it's not hippie, purple light from the sky with the breath. It's actually, let's use the breath clinically to regulate.
Yeah.
Certain breaths, for example, maybe you want to join me now, John, or anyone online. I'll just look away, so it's a bit intense. If you ever do work online, you can read in the book how to do this.
Yes.
Let's So inhale for 4, 2, 3, 4. Exhale longer. Inhale. Neurodivergent people like a count. So you can do the count or not the count. Pause at the top. Exhale. Let's aim for 6. You might get a 4.5, a 5, a 5.2, whatever. We're wanting to lengthen it. And again, inhale. 2, 3, 4. Pause for a beat. Exhale. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Pause. So just letting go of that and coming back. So this is where we use the tools of the breath to help our clients regulate. We share them with them. Some, if people are depressed, there's certain breaths you can do to pump up. Usually it's about getting people from up here back into the window of tolerance and sharing this with our clients. And there's a list of the breaths in here. I've wrote them all down. Really, the 4, 6, and get the client to go and practice it when they're walking, when they're on the bus. Yeah.
So that's a great recommendation for the book. These kind of tools are there. They're in the book, and we can use them ourselves. We can recommend to our clients as well. Recommend the book to the clients so they've got the tools with them. And yeah.
So with regulation. Yeah. So there's an understanding in the space about the client's body. So you've gone from the physical, what's going on, and mental health, everything, mind, body, regulation. And then when people are regulated, and this isn't quick, I'm sort of segueing quickly to this, there is a healing that goes on here where their spirit, soul, whatever it is for the client, there's a choice to live. They wouldn't be coming to see you otherwise if they didn't want things to get better, to change.
Yeah. But I just noticed you saying again, like, this is not a quick fix. It's not a speedy thing. Like, it takes time to kind of undo what's happened in the body.
And you're bringing in if you remember, even with addiction, you wouldn't take something away without replacing it with something.
Yeah.
And often there is this sort of quick fixness around body work, which I think is highly unsafe. You would have all seen things on the internet with trauma work, and it's really unsafe to do that. And I do, and also a lot of people doing it aren't trained, don't have a DBS. There's just a lot of stuff, and so I feel quite comfortably. And again, this is my purpose, to stand in the space and say no. Whether that's a yoga class or somewhere where there might be touch, for example, that actually no, that you don't do that. If regular people want to go to these spaces and do it, great, crack on.
Yeah.
If we are working with survivors, trauma survivors, people who are emotionally dysregulated, we have to be really careful and slow things down and give them choice. Yeah.
So we might hear a client who's just kind of would be described in the way that you're just said, might be asking us, like, what should I access? What do I need to be cautious of? And we could be having that conversation with the client.
Yes, definitely. Definitely around safety, that they feel, even for the breathing, that you work in a trauma-informed way. If you're online, that you look away. I sort of give you the recipe for it in the book. If you're in person, if they might want to do something with you, but let them go and do it at home. Let them practice it in the real world. Yeah. And also, what came up a lot in my research is people would say they need to understand why, not just let's do some breathing. Why? And it's tools for regulation. Tools for regulation.
Yeah. There's a good reason, and the tools are to serve the work. It's not just a kind of random thing to try.
I think it's often seen as a bit of a bolt on, but it's actually, let's work on getting steady. Yeah. And there is, in the past, there was resistance to this, or I perceived there was. And now people literally give me the breathing exercise, Lorna. What do I need to do? And you just need the simple ones. Then they can,
And reminders of that too, as well, I guess. Yeah. And you said earlier about, it's the new polyvagal, and it was getting me thinking, like, what would you say is the kind of next step on that this work is bringing us as practitioners, as clients, from, like, the polyvagal work's been such a big piece that's happened in the counselling world, but it sounds like you're thinking about something that brings us a little bit further. Next.
I am, So obviously this has taken me 5 years. It's sort of a lifetime's work. And then, but in doing the research, because when I was writing every chapter, I was doing workshops online. Even in COVID, I was researching this, and it has taken 5 years. So that's there. But what's really sitting there for me is next is hormones. It's what I was mentioning, inflammation. The women's bodies, not just women's bodies, but having the conversations, around menopause and the physicality of it, and giving people choice. Yeah, and the neurodivergence section, they're the two big areas for me. When I reflect back on my work with clients, I mean, 5 years ago, it was very different. 3 years ago, it was very different around ADHD. I'm purely saying ADHD and autism here, whereas I see it as dyslexia, dyspraxia. So it's a big solar system for me. It's not a spectrum. Really, that's the area for change there with bodies, neurodivergent bodies. It's that people are able to take steps to look after themselves in that way, and that's really in our work. Sorry, I lost something made a noise in the office. Let me tell you what it is. When I reflect back 10 years, 12 years, 15 years in my work, a lot of the clients that were coming with that extreme anxiety, it was ADHD. I didn't have the knowledge then. Right. I look back and I'm like, wow. And they get back in touch with me now and they say, oh, Lorna, ADHD, but they're the ones that were coming to therapy then.
Yes.
Or they were coming to see me.
Yes.
But so now that it's there, it's how we then integrate this with their bodies for wellness. But that's the big area, along with the hormones, the impact of the high cortisol in the body with serotonin, estrogen, for the women, and not just women who are in their 40s and 50s, but also younger women. And rather than who are just being told go and lose some weight today, they're still told you need to go and lose some weight, then come back.
Yeah.
Or the women. It sounds crazy, but women every month who may be highly functioning, I don't know, a lawyer, they want to kill themselves every month without the lens of knowing about hormones, having and bringing it into mind-body connection.
Yeah.
What would you work with someone who wants to kill themselves 2 days a month?
Yeah.
That's really, it's extreme mental health, isn't it? It's like, oh my gosh, I'm in crisis. We need to bring these layers in.
Yes.
Yeah.
So important. Yeah. Well, and we've got another question in the chat, Lorna, if that's all right with you.
Yeah.
Asking about adapting fascia work, movement integration for clients with ADHD to ensure safety, regulation, and effectiveness. Anything that you'd be thinking in particular? And
and is this in a regular class, or is this for someone to practice at home?
Oh, could get some feedback in the chat, or whether the colleague wants to unmute, you're really, really welcome to. We could unlock the microphones, Sebastian, just in case anyone wants to hit that unmute button. Oh, both is the response, both, Lorna.
Right, so let me start them out. Let people have a go at home if they're keen, right? Get people on some YouTube at home. I would explain to people about some of the safety stuff in a yoga class that might just to have an eye on, that maybe I go through it in the book, but it can be really triggering going to a yoga class or going to any group situation, especially if you factor neurodiversity in. Okay, I'll keep it high level. Someone with ADHD in a slow class might be bored, right? So that it's how they might want to go to something a little bit faster, because ultimately with any movement with yoga, you burn the cortisol off to ultimately be able to sit. That's the whole point of yoga, right? It's to make the shapes so you can calm, but what you're doing is you're burning the cortisol off. So it's useful to let the client know that when you're making the shapes and moving, you're burning the cortisol off. Bring the science to it and moving your fascia. Safety wise, if they want to try it at home to get their confidence up, or maybe go with a friend, take someone with them, go to the back corner, just let them, as long as people feel safe in the room, let them know to feel safe in the room. Yeah.
And to listen to the body if not feeling safe, like that's also really important, not to override those safety or unsafety signals. And
Absolutely.
yeah,
Absolutely. And know it's okay if they just want to leave. If it doesn't feel comfortable, just leave.
yeah,
They don't have to go back.
that makes sense. And
Yeah.
it sounds like you speak more about that in the book, the kind of things to be looking for and how to
Yeah,
manage. And yeah.
absolutely. Especially with classes, yoga. And a lot of people like doing things at home. It's safe at home.
Mm.
Time, like we were talking about the young person earlier, or people just haven't got time. They use YouTube.
Yes.
They do. That's people watch my video. You can watch my videos online. There's lots of people
Mm.
online doing that. I would say if people are interested in this area, there's a type of yoga when people get a little bit more on the healing, especially with trauma and fascia, and it's called yin yoga or restorative yoga. You can find them on YouTube.
Mm. Okay.
Um, it's really good
And
in terms of deeply releasing the fascia. It's
so
not
yin,
a crisis intervention again,
yes.
but
So that's really
really,
important to say. Yeah.
yeah, it's when people are wanting to do deeper work.
Yeah.
Um, yin yoga.
And can you share the name of your YouTube channel,
Yes, it's the
Lorna?
mind movement.
Oh, yes, of course, the
Yeah.
mind movement. Great.
Sorry, yeah, it's the mind movement. And
Got
on
it.
there, I've got a lot of trauma informed yoga classes.
Yes.
And I do quite a lot of them seated. So it's accessible. And if people even wanted to watch it and get the language is in the book, but it's all about giving people choice, that people don't feel looked at, if you like and when you're ready. Because in regular, say I do talk about yoga, there's so much body shaming. There's a lot of touch, horrendous, partner work, horrendous. The teachers are sometimes narcissists and think they can walk on water. The potential for abuse is huge. Not all, and luckily that area are more interested in the healing. But so I do hear horror stories quite regularly.
Mm.
Yeah.
So, yeah, to, I guess, be discerning when we're out in the world looking for spaces, your YouTube would be a great place to
I would
start.
say get people to
Yeah.
find someone who they like. And ask
Mm.
my clients. I don't just promote my own YouTube videos to my clients. I'll say you've got to like their voice.
Voice
Some
makes an
people,
amazing difference, doesn't it?
if you
Just,
think of
yeah,
sensitivity, um,
absolutely.
their
Yeah.
voice, if somebody's there and they're all skinny and lighter and all, it's like, no. Or their narcissism might just come through.
Yeah.
Just someone who you connect with at 10 minutes. Yeah. And even breathing exercises. There's something called yoga nidra when I'm working with people a bit
Yes.
and we're healing. It's called yoga sleep. And you can go on YouTube and do a 10-minute, but if you don't like their voice, switch it off. All the time giving people choice. All the time giving people choice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's so important that it's not like, if it's not working for you, you're the problem. That's the opposite thing, isn't it? And there is a bit of a feeling, and there's a bit of a thing in psychotherapy around that, well, like the client can be the problem, but actually it can be it's not the right resource for the client. And that the client has the confidence to work at, to then say, actually, it's not me. This is not the right resource for me. And
Yeah. And there's a power dynamic, and that exists in yoga or anything really. The
yeah,
client is sort of one down or may feel that. And
absolutely. Yeah.
I think there's something I'd like to mention, John, just for the people who are here today. There's something that is worth looking at and raising awareness to, and that's around ultimately our self-care. When we do body work, it's very deep work because we feel it. So I can frame it as transference and counter-transference, but I have to say that all counter-transference is embodied. It is not embodied. All
Of course.
feelings the counter-transference, it is embodied. And there's something where I ask the people I train and the people I work with to really notice how certain clients will make them feel. In my first ever client had a limp. She hated therapy. She came because her doctor told her she thought it was a load of rubbish. She came for 6 months. She had a limp. It took me about 4 months to realize that after that session, I would limp to my car. And it was only my supervisor was a Gestalt powerhouse and said, I sort of made a joke about it. And this was, again, a moment for me opening up around, so if our clients are physically sick, we're going to get physically sick.
Yeah.
We have to be really looking at the boundaries there, our own self-care, so we can have long careers and not burn out and get ill with too much death manifesting in our body. For me, if I have too much death and grief in my work, it manifests in my back, in my upper back, and I become like character armor, like this. And we all have lives as well with things happening, and
of course we've got our own things going
we've got
on
our
too.
own things as well. So it's really keeping an eye on our own bodily work, bodily stuff, and taking that to supervision. Yeah.
This is so important, isn't it? That we're not that separate from the client in that kind of conversation, are we? Like it.
No.
I just love what you're saying. It's such an important part of how I think about my work as a practitioner too. It's all in the body, and which is a wonderful source of knowledge about the client too, because then we know what the client's embodied experience is like. And I guess what you're bringing to us, we also need to find a way of releasing that from our bodies as well. So important.
Yeah. Especially if you're a neurodivergent therapist.
Yes. Yeah, because we're going to be soaking all of that in, aren't we?
Well, we're empaths, right? We're all empaths. But yeah, you're right. I'd say other people are soaking it in as well, but you're going to notice it more, so really taking your awareness to that manifestation of illness in your body, how it affects your fascia, your gut. Yeah.
Well, and I remember reading Susan Cain's book on quiet, and she was talking about the different thickness of the skin. And how some of us, our skin is actually measurably thinner, and so more can come into the physical experience. Just fascinating. So what you're saying is so vital, Lorna.
And just to raise people's awareness to it, because people are so keen to jump in, and now nobody wanted to know about the body work 8 years ago, and it was me and 9 people in a room. It was like a miracle, right? and now there's like hundreds of people, and there's a book. But it's toxic stuff. We're working with trauma. It's heavy. It's like being in the room with a heavy smoker who is smoking. So we're going to absorb that with our thin skin. So how we need to protect ourselves, take that to supervision. It's heavy work. We're all doing heavy work. Great work, but heavy work.
So true, Lorna. So true. I notice we've just got a few minutes left, and Sebastian, if you could put the link to the book back in the chat, that would be great. And also, you're back with us thank you, Sebastian. The next event on May the 15th. That you're doing with us at Online Events.
A much deeper dive into fascia.
Yes.
I think it's only 2 hours, but I'll be going really into fascia, and again, looking into ways of regulating how we work with it, bringing this so we can give it to our clients. It's not for us to hold here sacred, it's for us to share with our clients.
Well, it'd be lovely if colleagues would come back and do that piece with you as well. There's one piece that I didn't get us to, and it feels so important not to leave out. You're also describing in the book about how female colleagues, thinkers, theoreticians, practitioners have kind of almost been edited out of the field somehow.
Well, they were edited out, and they still are. So as a woman, if my book had a male name on it, it would sell more. This is how it is, right? And there'll be no shock to the people in this room to hear that.
Yeah.
But if we go back in time, the women are missing. So this is why the women's bodies in our work are missing. And I'm saying about hormones and menopause and cortisol and this and guts and the blood, the flesh, right? It's different. And it's because the women were missing. So or sexualized. So some women so a lot of their work was published, but the men got the book deals. The men still do get the book deals.
Yeah.
Right? The men get the gigs. Then they still do. So who's talking about the women's bodies? Me. All right, so great. But we've got to be, working with this. So lots of women, I mention them in my book. But say, for example, even with Fritz Perls, he's a sort of crazy narcissist. But his wife, Laura, she divorced him in the end. She was rid of him at the end. That's not the only way to work. So a lot of women whose background was in dance, movement, working with children, working with children's dreams. This is at the time of Freud. It's tracking, but their work wasn't published. It didn't get the, or it was published, but it disappeared.
Yes.
So really, I shine a light on their work and will continue to shine a light on their work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Ida Rolf is a big deal. The fact this film's coming out, you'll hear about it, the mother of fascia.
Yes.
But yeah, and so I'll continue to shine a light on that, about the missing voices of women. That's why in 2026, I'm saying what's new is looking at women's bodies and hormones. That's crazy. It's 2026.
It's completely crazy, isn't it? Completely crazy.
Yeah, but let's do it. But we will do it,
Yes.
So
well,
this
I'm
is the point
so glad
change.
you're here with us at Online Events as one of your launches, talking about these things. They're so important
Thanks, John.
that the light is on all of what you've described today and talked to us about. So thank you so much, Lorna. It's been a great hour together. Really looking forward to having you back in May. I want to say thank you to everybody who's been with you live in Zoom. You've been listening from the future in the library. Hello to you too. It's been great to have you here as well. Thank you to Sebastian for managing all our tech as well. Last thing that we usually do at the end of our hour is open up the mics. If anybody would like to say goodbye on the way out, you're really welcome to. And hope to see you again soon, and hope to see you in May. Thank you, everybody.
See you in May. Thank you, everybody.
Yes.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.